The gold of the pharaohs on tour in 10 cities, and it started in Paris at the Grand Hall de la Villette from April 7th till September 6th. Visitors discover the life, reign and legacy of Ramses the Great. And to shed more light on the exhibition, on its success in the French capital, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone Mr. Ihab Kamel, our historian and researcher. A very good morning to you, Mr. Ihab.
Morning.
Before going into the details, Ramses II or Ramses the Great, as far as I know, that he was the very first deceased Egyptian king to have a passport. This was in the 70s of last century, but it was an event in itself. Tell us more about this issue and why Ramses II, by all means, was called Ramses the Great.
Well, basically, Ramses II is considered to be the greatest builder Egypt had ever seen through all its history. It's enough to tell you that Ramses II is considered to be also the real founder of the 19th dynasty. Basically speaking, we can say that also Ramses II, his descendants had formed actually more than one dynasty due to his huge number of children that exceeded 111 children. So there is no other pharaoh that had succeeded keeping a royal line for that long, for such a long period. Ramses II as well, as we said, he's the greatest builder Egypt had ever seen. It's enough to speak about Abu Simbel Temple. It's enough to speak about the great colonnaded court of the Karnak. So, by all means, Ramses II is a very special pharaoh, especially that he was the first pharaoh to establish or to sign a peace treaty, the first written peace treaty in history between him and the kingdom of the Hittites. So,
after his victory in Qadesh, I mean, he signed this peace treaty after a very successful military campaign.
Of course, and he had a global vision. He understood that the world had two major poles. It was Egypt and the kingdom of the Hittites. And his vision saw what was coming, the danger that was coming, and that this war was going to destroy both empires. And basically that came to be true when the Sea People had destroyed the Hittites' kingdom before they were stopped by his successor, King Merenptah. So we're talking about a pharaoh with a great vision, a pharaoh with great achievements.
As I know also, and would you please correct me if I'm wrong, that he married the daughter of the Hittite king after signing the treaty?
Yes, absolutely. This is absolutely correct. And of course, this was to strengthen the bonds and ties between the two superpowers that were ruling the ancient world at that time, which is also an evidence on his great political vision and on the vision of what was coming. And it did not take long to come. It came during his successor, King Merenptah.
Yeah.
So Ramses II's period was a very rich period in architecture, in art, in literature, in politics, and it's a period.
So I can say that he was one of very few Egyptian kings to be successful on both sides. I mean, in military campaigns and in signing treaty, in politics, and in the same time in the architecture and building the country from inside. Was he the only one who was that successful in all domains, as we mentioned, or he is one of a very short list, if we can call it this way?
Yes, absolutely. Especially that during his time, and because of this, of what he had done, by signing that peace treaty, the ancient world had enjoyed peace for a very long time that extended for over 50 years.
And his journey to Paris, it's not the first one. And he had also a very nice, successful journey to the French capital in the 70s. If you want to elaborate on his first visit to the French capital.
Well, as a matter of fact, this is a very interesting story. The mummy of Ramses II had started facing some problems, which was the appearance of some fungi on the mummy. And at that time, Egypt was extending strong bonds and ties with France, especially during the time of President Valéry Giscard d'Estaing. And he offered that the French scientists would like to have a look at the mummy and treat it from this fungus that had started appearing on the mummy, which was a very generous offer from the French government, especially that France has a great deal of interest in ancient Egyptian civilization. We cannot forget that France had discovered Egypt, was the country that discovered Egypt and presented it to the whole world. So basically, President Sadat had agreed, and they made a passport for King Ramses II, and it was written in the passport, the King of Egypt.
And between two brackets, deceased.
Exactly, but this was not the only surprise.
Yeah.
The surprise was when the plane that was carrying his mummy had landed in the airport of
Charles de Gaulle.
No, it was in Roissy in France, and they had a royal reception with the guards of honor, receiving, as if they were receiving a living king at that time, which was something the world had never seen before. And this had given a great deal of attracted lots of attention of the whole world towards this reception, which the world had never seen before, such a reception for a dead king. So the mummy had stayed there for a few years until it was treated and tested, and it returned back to Egypt in a magnificent condition, and it's still under exhibition at the moment in the Civilizations Museum in Egypt.
Yeah, and this time his journey also was, of course, a source of pride to all of us to know how many people flooded to the exhibition to watch or to have a glimpse even on him, and to make sure that this is going to be a source of attraction to more visitors, to more tourists who are going to be eager to come and to enjoy our ancient Egyptian civilization, whether in Luxor and Aswan, for example, or in our museums scattered now all over the country, or waiting for the Grand Egyptian Museum inauguration, which is going to take place later this year. Tell me about the exhibition of these days and to what extent it was a real successful one.
Of course, when we talk about Egypt, or when you speak to anyone about Egypt, he will say, "Oh, Ramses II," because there isn't a place in Egypt that does not have a monument for Ramses II. And Ramses II, as a character, it's a character that had stimulated the minds of many people, especially that he was a warrior, a politician, a man that had shown a great deal of love for his wife, and he expressed it on the walls of his temples, making for her one of the most beautiful tombs in Egypt. So for many people, Ramses II is a very special character. So they would like to see or to imagine how was the era of this pharaoh, or how was the era of this pharaoh like, how was the art, how was the architecture. So this exhibition, it's like a sample showing the people a part of Egypt which shows Egypt in its prime. And many people had heard about Ramses, but they had never seen anything physical that relates to that glorious period of the ancient Egyptian history. So by all means, of course, this will attract lots of visitors. This
So
will
these
be
exhibitions have such a role in promoting the tourism sector in Egypt, true?
Of course, it's true, because you are bringing a sample from ancient Egypt to the people. Sometimes this is more effective than media campaigns.
You know, Mr. Ihab, I'm asking this question because many people would say that if you go to the Louvre, to the Hermitage, to Berlin, you are going to find already such huge sections of the Egyptian ancient civilization. Why I would go with other artifacts in other exhibitions? There are two visions here. Which is which? Or what's the difference between this and that?
No, a temporary exhibition is something, and keeping the artifacts and pieces of the heritage of a country that went out illegally is something else. I had been to the Louvre myself, and I had seen pieces not only from the ancient Egyptian period, but from the Coptic, from the Islamic, very rare artifacts and very special artifacts, which I believe that Egypt does not have something like it. It's enough to tell you that the famous scribe statue that all the world look impressed. They are impressed when they look at, actually, this is located in the Louvre. And I believe it should be in Egypt, because all these pieces, they went out illegally, or because of political pressures that were pressures.
Where is the Rosetta Stone? Where is Nefertiti's head? These are those two pieces in a specific. I think it's time to return back to Egypt, and this is another story we are going to discuss together, inshallah, next time, when we are honored to have you live here in the studio to be our dear guest in more episodes of our breakfast show. Mr. Ihab Kamel, our researcher and historian, thank you very much for your input, and have a very good day. Well, by this we come to the end of our breakfast show today. Tomorrow is another episode and another crew. Stay tuned on Nile TV International always for more updates. And for more details, please log on to www.nileinternational.net. Many thanks for watching. This is Nermeen Abdurrahman signing off.